ganga. Lucerito ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lume, 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 lume la mueve ganga. Lucerito ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lume, 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 lume la mueve ganga. Papá Candelo ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lume, 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 lume la mueve ganga. Papá Candelo ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Sinitola ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Sinitola ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Ita José ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Ita José ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Sole fumbe ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Y sole fumbe ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, 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 lumbe la mueve ganga. Gimbatiera ta sere sere, palo quiñambo en tesowe. Lumbe, lumbe, lumbe.
My birth name is Francisco Martin. My professional name is Oba Frank Lords, and people that have known me for a very long time call me Papito. I was born in 1964, and then we migrated to the U.S. in 1970, so there was not really much time that I spent there, but I do remember like places like El Malecón and El Prado, and you know, somewhat vaguely remember my my school and my teacher and my best friend, and the block that I lived in. Absolutely, I remember that, and even the house. So I mean, there wasn't really any other thing that a small child did much but play and get in trouble, you know. When I was a kid, in the neighborhood that I lived in, there was an old black man, actually a Congo man. He was born in Cuba, but his parents actually came on a slave ship during the slave trade, the latter part of it. And this man, he was 92 years old at this time, and he used to build drums out of hand, by hand. He used to cut down the tree, put the goat skin on it and all that stuff. Ever since I can remember, I have been fascinated by drums. That's the instrument that I play, but it's just, a drum to me is like a woman, you know. And I used to watch him from behind a tree that I thought he never saw me. It was a very big tree. I used to watch him for hours, carving the wood and all of the above. And then one day, out of the blue, I'm riding my bicycle down the sidewalk, and he's coming with some grocery bags, and he pulled out his hand like that and almost like closed hanged me. He stopped me. And he told me, so do you like drums? And I was like very taken back by that. And I said, yeah, why? He goes, no, because I know that you've been watching me for forever, from behind the tree. And then I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I know that you were there. And then he says to me, you want to see more drums? And I said, yeah. So he took me to his house. And when I walked into that little tiny room that was full of drums of all kinds and shapes and sizes, I thought I was in heaven. And then one day, after I, already became his friend and would help him and all that kind of stuff, he said to me, do you want to be an excellent drummer? And I said, I would love that more than anything in my life. And then he says, well, to be an excellent drummer, you must be a Palero, because you're a son of Nsasi. and he's the owner of the drum. But you have to, you have to like make the two worlds meet. So I said, okay, so when do I start? And then he says, do you know what about being a Palero is? And I said, no. And then he goes, well, you know, if you want to, you could come tomorrow in the morning at 7 in the morning, and you start tomorrow.
You had no idea what they
I had no clue. So the next day when I get there, there's a bunch of old people there with him. They're all talking in, you know, African, and I don't understand what the hell's going on. And all of a sudden, you know, they asked me to come to a certain room, and when I looked around me, the first room that was full of drums I thought was heaven. The room that was full of all these pots and kettles with things hanging from the roof and bats and vultures and you name it, I thought was hell, you know. But I was already there, and you know, they gave me the bath and all the things that, you know, have to be done prior to the ceremony. They blindfolded me, and he just told me to, you know, to open my ears and shut my mouth. And they went on with the ceremony, and from that day on, I became his closest student until I had to move from Southwest, which was like about 2 years later. And when I came back to Southwest a year after that to visit, he had already passed away.